Crimson Desert's combat is something that I actually specialize in, and I really love going deep into combat systems. It lets you be creative, it lets you have some fun, and really get into a state of flow, which is the ultimate gaming experience, in my opinion. And Crimson Desert does not shy away from this, and they actually embrace it in many different ways. And I want to kind of discuss some of my personal hands-on experience. You're going to be watching the bosses that I fought when I played this game, and I'm going to share just my opinions on the feel and the mechanics. I'm going to go through the button layout from my memory. I did not write these down as far as the actual overall button scheme, but we'll get into that as well. I want to kind of help you understand what this game is doing and why it works the way it works, so that you can be ready when the time comes. So enjoy. Hopefully this is informative. It's a bunch of guides I have breaking down this game. I'm going to start diving deep into the game. I have a separate video covering the progression, whereas anti-RPG is what I'm going to call it. And basically there's no XP leveling. You're not going to go around trying to level character in this traditional way. They're basically allowing you to do anything, because there's also no level gating. So yes, there's higher level areas, but you're not stuck having to do them. You can do anything and everything you want. And the reason this is important to combat is because they make it so that you grow your toolkit. Okay, so you grow your skills, you grow your abilities, you grow everything on the field. Okay, you know, yes, you can have strongholds, opening chests, and things of that nature, which can help your stamina and your health. But as far as weapon goes, your level is your gear. Okay, so just think of it in that fashion, as well as the slots that they have for the weapons and things like that that are going to enhance it, basically modify and do it. The biggest thing is the learning system. It's basically watching, and maybe you observe something critical like learning to fish, but you can use it in a way to do combat. For example, if you watch an NPC that you're fighting or fighting with, and they do a special kick move, that combination, you can unlock it by observing it, things of that nature. So it's a very cool system for combat. This is important before we get into the actual fight, so you guys can understand more or less what's going on with the game. Okay, now with that being said, on my hands-on, I fought these bosses. I fought 5 bosses or so, something like that, and it was maybe more than 5, but 5 direct bosses that they put me in these arenas. And in the background, you're seeing one of them. And this guy right here shredded me. Okay, I went in without ever getting to play 1 minute of the game, and they put me right into a boss fight. I said, go ahead. And I got cooked. But as I played, I got better and I learned the mechanics. So I want to share that and help you see, like, hey, what is this system? How does it work? Somebody was saying to me, oh, I don't want to have to press one button to win. You do not. You can't just mash and hope that you win by pressing one button the whole fight. These guys have alternate attacks, alternate abilities. They're capable of doing all types of things. The AI and the boss design are very dynamic. I like that. You're going to be hitting different combos, whether it's R1 and R2 together, or you're going to hold in a direction and then do triangle or jump in triangle. Even pressing triangle will give you a kick, but if you're standing, you're running, jumping, it'll be different attacks within that. And that is important to kind of understand the way the system works and what you can do as you go forward. I'm going to start listing off things that I kind of remember off my memory when it comes to the button layout, but I do want to continue to highlight these bosses, just help you understand. As you can see, there's different dynamics and different combinations that you're going to be able to implement. It's your choice and your prerogative, so you're not stuck behind one playstyle. You can kind of maneuver it the way you want. And honestly, using their environment is some of the best in the game. Personally, things that I personally loved and thought was very interesting. See, this fight was pretty damn cool if you ask me, and it is just one of many fights that you'll end up going through. And he's more traditional with a shield, and he was kind of just using all of his abilities. But I want to kind of take you through what it surprised me and showed like, wow, this game has a variety of style of bosses that actually play a little different. And that is this interesting boss fight where you're not just hacking and slashing or blocking with your shield or doing things of that nature. You have to think twice and play smart and be able to maneuver well. And if this is one of the bosses, and I don't want to spoil it for people who are trying not to get deep into it. If you're watching my videos, you're deep into it, all right? I'm sorry to break it to you, but I won't spoil the game too heavily. But as you can see, there's going to be these giant type of creatures. This isn't a normal boss where you just hack and slash and they're regular size. This is a giant big boy. And what impressed me about the game is that, yeah, you know, how much of your high level is going to matter when you can't penetrate the giant enemy's shield, aka this turtle. Okay, and that's where, as I said earlier, it's important to know, like, yeah, I don't care how high level you are, you have to find a way to beat this thing. And this was the second boss that I fought that also gave me a hard time because I didn't know what to do. I was trying to hack its legs, and I'm like, wait a minute. And once I attempted to jump on its back, it actually changed the game because now it made sense. It's like, oh, I got to break his weak points and then do some damage to him. This is going to allow me to, you know, win this fight. And those are simple things, and this might not be some gigantic big boss fight that you guys might know. Don't worry, there's dragons and much more in the game that you can fight. But this traditional, oh, we just gonna do a slide roll shield attack or anything like that is not how this game works. There's these cool dynamics, and you know, you can use your abilities to be able to win better. So just imagine if I didn't have the glide, maybe let's say I didn't have certain abilities, you know, this fight can be harder for me if that's what I was looking for. But if I go out there and spend 50 hours just exploring, getting all new abilities and unlocking very cool things, when I come in here, I can do maybe a suplex slam down on his head. These are the kind of dynamics that I didn't try out directly. I mostly kept jumping on his back and purposely trying to do some damage. But in the end of the day, it is a factor that I think is important because if I use a grapple like that and I do the slam, guess what? Change the game. And everybody plays differently. Maybe somebody finds different ways to do things, but these are the dynamics for the game that make it special for each person that's going to be playing and figuring the game out as they go. Okay. And now I want to kind of take you through the psychological aspect. This was a really trippy fight as well. The developers were laughing at me. So I'm like, whoa, 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 making my noises and just kind of reacting to the experience when I got my hands on. And it was really nice. And these are the kind of things that by the time I fought this boss, I personally had flow and feel for the mechanics. Okay. The thing that happened to me was when I played it, it just like put me into some boss fights, one after another, one after another. Like, today you're going to fight bosses. And I'm like, okay. It's like, I haven't played the game, but let's do it. And by the time I got to this one, I felt confident. And, you know, they had this psychological scare factor. They're zipping back and forth. They have like holograms. They're multiple enemies. It's very interesting. And like I said, the dynamics are very different. I fought a giant turtle 2 minutes ago. All of a sudden, I'm here with this Scarecrow looking monster. And so those are the kind of things that I really love about it. And as you can see, they have some really fast attacks. They have some AoE attacks, but we also have dynamic combat and capabilities as well, where we can do some serious damage. Okay. And so to me, that is where this game shines the most. And I want to point out, as you're watching, some of the very amazing combat, whether it's the parry, and somebody was asking me, is there visual cues for the attacks when they attack? There are some that you can probably just dodge to avoid, or you can use your cool abilities like you see here. That's a combination that I want to rewind and kind of help you understand how this goes. And I'm not going to go through every single combination and give you guys a rundown, but I just want to help you understand. If I hit R1, then I hit R2, and then I do a jump triangle attack, I'm going to do that kick right there. And then I'm going to go into a hack and slash quick light attack. These are the combinations. And of course, you'll be on different controls and systems, but those combinations are reference, right? Like, it doesn't mean this is the only way to beat this boss. And you're capable of putting together different things that flow well, that feel good, that you can have fun with and do some dynamic combat with. Okay. And this is where, to me, they're wanting to have fun. They're not just giving you a quick game, like, let's just put anything together. You can see even the boss is very trippy, and he's got a bunch of characters that are kind of playing with your head and giving you a quick cinematic. By the way, that's a cinematic scene to kind of teach you that you're going into the next phase. And remember, you have tools, you have abilities, and you're going to be able to do some really cool stuff. And what was cool about this boss wasn't just for me to do damage to him. I actually didn't know I had to break these. A developer walked by and said, hey, you might want to break that. They kind of saw that I wasn't figuring it out. And I don't know what to do here. This guy is just zooming around, attacking me. And it was interesting until I figured it out. Like, oh, the only way to break him from this delusion is to break his shield there. And so those are the kind of things that made the game even better, me personally, because I said, wow, like, they're really caring about this. This isn't just some throw a boss in an arena. No offense to any other games, but sometimes they just put a boss in there like, hey, just make them hack and slash a little and call it a day. You know, make this one bigger. You know, make it a glob. And it's like, dude, that's not actually interesting. It's not very dynamic. It's not challenging. And I feel like these creative bosses, they're trying to do that. Okay. And so you have to compliment and give credit to them as they do this. Okay. Well, at least I got to give credit personally. That's how I feel about it. And so this is where, like, this boss was the one that made me say, wow, this game is special, because I got the turtle fight and I'm like, giant turtle. And then I got the other soldier with the shield, traditional spicing out. And this guy's crazy. And there's even more bosses, and I would have to do some really deeper dives with all the different things and go down that rabbit hole. We are going to do a live stream about that, breaking everything down in the near future, so you guys can enjoy and have some fun in the gaming space. But yeah, this is by far the best demonstration of like a variety, where like I had to break his little scarecrows to be able to get some damage in and start working. Had nothing to do with my power level, it's just called wit. And then he has these crazy attacks that you have to try to dodge, figure out how to get in on an attack for him. For example, doing that range attack and then getting into combat. This is the cool part. This is the best part. And this is where you're capable of doing whatever, you know, you might feel or like as a player. And remember, there's plenty to do. We're going to get into some more combat stuff in a second, but I did want to promise you guys a quick look at another one of the bosses that are out there. Okay. And so you run into some of these misfits and you get into a fight with them and things start happening. And of course it gets into a boss fight. But while we watch this, I want to kind of go through the button schemes and kind of explain and express it. Okay. So, let's just say square. And again, this is probably subject to change. So I'm just going to go off of my personal controller layout and what I kind of remember from the demo. Square is to jump, which is a really odd one. They said they're working on customizing the button layouts. I think that's going to be important, but you got to remember, this is a unique system. There's a lot of different dynamic elements in the game for that. So then you have dash as X or A. We're going to talk PlayStation buttons. If you don't have PlayStation, you're on keyboard. I mean, figure it out, right? Dashing or sprinting is X, and then rolling is B, and that's more traditional, aligned with kind of some of the games that we've known. Triangle, as I told you guys, you can mount, interact, and kick things, and that's like opening doors and things of that nature, mounting your horse, and then so on. Okay, so they have a system where you press L1 to interact with NPCs, so it's an interesting setup. But as I was saying earlier, your light attack is R1, your heavy attack is R2. You can combine those in different ways to create different combinations. L1 is your block and parry. L2 will allow you to pull your bow or your skill context. So there is skills. You're watching here, he'll pull out a different ability sometimes. And of course, in this fight specifically, you know, you definitely want to do some range attacks. This guy's super aggressive. If you get a moment to breathe and back up and just do your thing. Okay. So this is where this game really shines because of that. And then I want to kind of get into, of course, focus mode, lock on mode, and things of that nature. You can use focus mode with R3 and L3. It's kind of your power up and things of that nature. Re-challenging yourself. When you hit L3, that's where you get some magic abilities, and R3 as well from what was said. Again, I haven't got too deep into those, but the traditional things with the D-pad, up, down, left, right, you have calling the horse, using your magic and potions, and then also infusing your weapon with the, you know, elements. So it's fire, ice, and so on. So the cool part, and the reason I'm bringing all this up, is because the way the system works is I'm going to hit jump. I'm going to hit R3, R2, or a combination, right? I'll hold run, and then I'll hit triangle to do a very cool takedown, you know, some type of smash, things like that. I can do, of course, traditional stuff like blocking and then attacking right after. You can do drop kicks, as you see. Perfect dodges are something I actually really liked because it slows down time and it was really fluid. And it's something I personally cannot wait for. Just saw right there where the arrow, you're capable to do these abilities that are super strong. And somebody was asking, how does the magic feel and how does all that feel? Remember, when I played, it was during the mid game, so you probably had a lot of abilities, you probably had a lot of health, and you know, it wasn't like the beginning parts of the game. I think you can't measure a game from the starting or even the middle. You have to kind of just experience it yourself. You're going to level up as much as you want, whether you want to unlock every ability before you continue the story. I've done that in some video open world games. That's the fun part, where it's like, you know what, I want to kind of get everything. So this is where it's preference, you know, not in a negative way to say like, you know, stop looking for people to hold your hand, but that's what I'm saying. Just get out there and try it for yourself. You might end up really loving a game more because you took the time to put in the work and give it a shot, as far as like just testing your own skill and ability. So I kind of want to go through a couple more things as you've seen some of the bosses. We're going to go now with, by the way, shout out to Will Powers. I met him at, I think it was PAX East or some other event, Seattle, or whichever gaming events that I've been to. He's been pretty much there to all of them. And he gave me the footage for the bosses that I fought. So really, really grateful for him. He's the PR manager running things, doing a really solid job. And that being said, now we're going to watch this background footage that you're watching is not from him. This is the official footage that Pearl Abyss put out explaining the combat. I want to kind of go through some of what the footage showcases. As you can see, very cool abilities. There's different ways to attack do a choke slam right there, and then slam them against the wall, environmental hits. You know, we're gonna pause some of this and rewind it. You can see the lightning strike. Then I went into a nice spin kick. Well, not me, but the game. You know, all these combinations. Like, think about that full 8-hit combo that you're doing. Those are the kind of things that are pretty sick. Look at this: jump into the air, doing a Bruce Lee kick down into the ground. Amazing stuff. Look, the sweeping kick, taking someone down, then attacking someone else. That's a great way to enter a fight. You know what I mean? Like, look at this bow and arrow attack. You're talking about grapples and then slamming down into the floor. All of this is your choice, right? So if I just sat here and said, you have to use this weapon or this ability, it is not good, because I want you to have fun and be creative and just enjoy the game. And I think, you know, the internet has caused many people not to do that. And this game is saying, no, get out there and have fun with it. You're going to miss out if you don't try to do these crazy combos like that right there, or whatever the case may be. You have to personally put in the time and effort to create the type of character that you feel works for your fun and for your enjoyment. You're creating your fun and enjoyment. You know, a game isn't good unless you the time and to enjoy it your way. So that's today's video. This was a deep dive into the combat, kind of my personal hands-on, while also giving you the official information that they've shared. Again, the button layouts is the one thing I would retract from this video, because we're not sure what the final product is. You know, there's multiple playthroughs, multiple times for the past 2 years, hands-on. So that could change overnight. So let's see. Again, this is not no sponsored video. I keep saying that because I feel like, you know, so many people were like, what is he bringing this up and explaining the game? A lot of times people are a little funky with that information. I'm all set, man. We're here to share our enjoyment and excitement for the game, and discuss all of the cool things that's happening. This game comes out on March 19th. I will be playing it. Hoping that the studio gets me the early copy within 2 or more weeks, so I can fully dive into the story and go through everything that it has, because it is a big game and it is interesting. So that being said, make sure you show love if this was informative. You know what to do. Other than that, I do have deeper dives that you can check out on the channel. See you there.